The silence was the most terrifying sound. Not the roaring tempest, not the splintering wood, but the eerie, suffocating calm that preceded true annihilation. Captain Elias stood on the deck of the Steadfast, his eyes fixed on the horizon, where the sea met a sky pregnant with unspoken dread. The air hung heavy, a metallic tang of impending pressure, not a squall, but something far more insidious. He wasn't bracing for impact. He was observing, meticulously. His hands, calloused and knowing, ran over a single, tightly coiled rope, checking its tension, its fray, its very soul. Around him, his crew sensed it too, the slow, relentless tightening of an unseen vice. They waited for a monstrous wave, a sudden gale, a kraken from the depths. But Captain Elias knew the truth. The real monster wasn't a sudden beast. It was the cumulative weight of 1,000 ignored whispers, 1,000 unaddressed weaknesses. How do we face the insurmountable challenges when the danger isn't a sudden roar, but a silent, ceaseless gnaw? How do we build an empire from dust or cross an ocean one stroke at a time when the very ocean conspires against stillness?
This is the domain of AnchorInChaos, where we confront the deep, unyielding truths of the ocean to understand the depths of our own spirit. Today, we sail into the heart of a philosophy often overlooked, yet foundational to all monumental achievement: the law of daily progress. Our journey begins with Captain Elias, a man carved not from tales of flamboyant heroism, but from the enduring stone of relentless persistence. His ship, the Steadfast, was a vessel unlike any other, not for its size or speed, but for its quiet, unwavering resilience. Elias wasn't a captain who chased glory. He pursued mastery in the mundane, understanding the true power lay in the consistent accumulation of small, deliberate efforts. They were embarking on a legendary passage, the Whispering Gulf. Legends spoke of it as a vast, deceptively calm expanse, a graveyard for ships that succumbed not to storms, but to an almost imperceptible erosion of spirit and structure. Its currents were subtle, its winds fickle, its depths a labyrinth of hidden pressures designed to slowly, patiently dismantle the unwary. To Elias's crew, young and eager for dramatic battles, his meticulous daily routines seemed almost absurd. Every morning, before dawn broke, Elias would personally inspect every inch of the ship. Every knot was tested, every plank scrutinized, every seam checked for the slightest breach. He'd spent hours polishing brass, not for vanity, but because a polished surface revealed cracks before they became chasms. His logbook was a bible of minutiae: wind speed, drift angle, hull integrity, even the nuanced moods of the sea itself, all recorded with unwavering discipline. Some sailors openly scoffed, whispering about Old Man Elias and his rituals. They longed for the thrill of a hurricane, the glory of outrunning a rogue wave. They saw strength in grand gestures, in the defiant roar against nature's fury. But Elias knew a deeper strength, a truth learned in the crucible of his own past.
Elias carried a ghost in his wake, the ghost of the Tempest, his first command, a ship renowned for its speed and sleek design. In his youth, Elias was ambitious, driven by the lure of immediate triumph. He sought to conquer the seas with bold strokes, to outmaneuver fate with audacious gambles. He scorned the small details, believing them beneath the captain of his vision. A slight fray in a critical rope, a faint tremor in the hull, a persistent creak from the mast. These were minor inconveniences, easily overshadowed by the thrill of a daring course correction or a full-sail dash through a risky strait. One fateful season, in pursuit of a record-breaking passage, he pushed the Tempest beyond its limits. He ignored the accumulating signs of stress, the tiny warnings that screamed from every timber and canvas. The storm, when it came, wasn't a sudden, cataclysmic event, but a culmination of all those ignored whispers. A slow leak became a deluge, a minor crack, a splintering rupture. The Tempest went down, not in a blaze of glory, but in a slow, agonizing surrender, a direct consequence of 100 small negligences. Elias survived, but the sea had taken his crew, his ship, and his youthful arrogance. He emerged from the depths a different man, humbled and forged anew. He understood then, with the clarity of salt-laced tears, that true mastery wasn't about dominating the grand, but about honoring the small. That the mightiest structures don't crumble from a single blow, but from the endless, unaddressed attrition of time and neglect. "The storm is your teacher," he would often mutter to himself, not for its destructive power, but for the quiet, unforgiving lessons it etched upon his soul in its aftermath. He learned that giants aren't felled by single dramatic blows, but by the relentless, patient chipping away of stone day after agonizing day. This was the genesis of his law of daily progress, a vow to himself, to the sea, and to the memory of those he lost, that he would never again underestimate the power of the small.
Deep within the whispering gulf, the deceptive calm finally shattered. It wasn't a sudden, violent tempest, but a pervasive, suffocating pressure that descended upon the steadfast. The air grew impossibly thick, pressing down on the sails, making every breath a struggle. The ocean itself seemed to turn into a monstrous living hand, reaching up from the depths to slowly, inexorably crush the ship. Currents, once subtle, now pulled in 1,000 conflicting directions, threatening to tear the keel from the hull, to twist the mighty mast into splinters. The ship groaned, a terrible, desperate shriek of wood and metal fighting against an unseen force. Other vessels, caught in the same snare, were already succumbing, masts snapping, hulls imploding, their crews screaming in a futile defiance. Yet the steadfast, though battered and trembling, held. It was a symphony of endurance. Every single, seemingly insignificant act of maintenance Elias had enforced, every knot he had personally checked, every reinforced joint, every meticulously logged compass correction, every tightened bolt, every polished brass fitting, these weren't just routines, they were bricks in an impenetrable fortress. The cumulative weight of these small wins had built a vessel capable of enduring the unimaginable. Elias stood on the quarterdeck, not shouting orders, not displaying heroic feats of strength, but observing with a chilling, almost detached calm. He wasn't fighting the monster with a sword. He was letting the monster break itself against the unyielding strength he had forged, piece by careful piece. He simply continued his routine, a silent, unmoving anchor in chaos, checking the tension of a rope here, adjusting a minor rigging there, his presence a testament to the unshakable power of persistent daily effort. The climax wasn't a dramatic battle. It was the ship, the steadfast, enduring, standing firm against an enemy designed to dismantle, not to strike down.
Slowly, agonizingly, the
the pressure began to recede. The Steadfast emerged from the heart of the Whispering Gulf, scarred but whole, while the echoes of other ships' demise faded behind them. The silence returned, but this time it was a silence of profound respect. The crew, who had once scoffed at Elias's meticulous ways, now looked at their battered but intact vessel with dawning comprehension. They had seen ships grander, faster, captained by men of bolder, more impulsive decisions, vanish into the abyss. But their ship, forged by 1,000 small acts of faithfulness, had prevailed. They saw the strength forged not in fire, but in the relentless, quiet perseverance of a man who understood the sea's deepest truths. They began to emulate him, at first tentatively, then with growing conviction. A young deckhand who once rushed his tasks now took his time, testing each knot, checking each line with a new sense of purpose. An older sailor, cynical from years of hardship, began to meticulously clean his tools, seeing value in their care, understanding that a well-maintained tool was a small win against the encroaching chaos. The law of daily progress had taken root, not as a rule enforced by a captain, but as a truth revealed by the sea itself. They had crossed the uncrossable, not through a single heroic feat, but by consistently doing the small things right. From the bow of the Steadfast, Captain Elias gazed out at the open sea, vast and indifferent. The journey was not over. It never truly was. There would be more challenges, new horizons, and unforeseen trials. But the lesson of the Whispering Gulf, the enduring power of the law of daily progress, had been etched into the very timbers of his ship and the souls of his crew. The greatest achievements, the most formidable defenses, the most resilient lives are not built on monumental leaps or sudden bursts of effort. They are forged in the quiet, consistent accumulation of small, deliberate steps. Every polished surface, every tightened bolt, every measured breath, every moment of focused attention is a brick in your impenetrable fortress against the encroaching chaos. It is the unwavering commitment to these small daily victories that transforms the impossible into the inevitable, the fragile into the formidable. It is how you become a giant. Remember, waves don't drown captains. Fear does. And fear is often born from the accumulation of ignored vulnerabilities.
So what small win will you commit to today? What seemingly insignificant act will you perform with unwavering dedication, knowing it's a stroke on the canvas of your masterpiece? What single thread will you strengthen in the fabric of your destiny? Share your commitment in the comments below. Let us know one small win you will pursue today, this week, this month, that will build towards your own giant achievement. If this message resonated with the relentless ocean within you, then subscribe to AnchorInChaos. Join our crew as we continue to chart our own course through the tumultuous seas of life, finding strength and purpose in the storms. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear that small wins create giants, and let's anchor ourselves in chaos together.